Good morning, I am Adam Harris, and this is The Day Ahead.
A quick reminder to subscribe to this channel below to receive alerts and daily market analysis videos of all the key asset classes. On the economic calendar for today, we have no high impact calendar news scheduled. In the currencies, the euro US dollar is expected to climb higher as the cryptocurrencies hit slightly lower. In the comms, the metals look healthy, but oils not so much. In both the global indices and equities in focus, the markets will have to choose between a longer term bullish or bearish trend with their weekly candles this week. You can jump to any chapter by clicking on the time link in the description below. Having a look at currencies first, starting off with the US dollar index, I really like this pullback into this level of support and resistance, and I like a little bit of a bearish candle forming there. So my expectation today is to see this continue down. So this actually looks like a potentially valid swing trading opportunity for me to go long, and it's very rare for me to usually trade the euro simply because for a long time it hasn't been trending properly. But I like the look of this broken outside of this range, pull back to test the range for support. Nice little bullish candle, so I'll be waiting for today's candle to finish as a bullish candle and looking for a break above the high of that tomorrow and looking to go long on that. So that looks quite nice. Expectation there is seeing the euro strengthen against the US dollar. Now looking at sterling, it has also done pretty well for itself. It's not completely escaped the range yet. It's still sitting at resistance. But if we get that weaker US dollar today and nothing untoward happens with sterling, I do expect to see this climb. Then what catches my eye as well on my list today for potential trading entry opportunities in the direction of the trend: euro yen, CAD yen, Swiss yen. Really like these rolling over. So euro yen's been on the list for a while. That's looking pretty good to continue down. Nice long trend putting back into the moving averages. All the moving averages in the correct order, and seeing price continue down. Bearish candle here, breaking the low of that and continuing lower. CAD yen as well looking pretty good. It's pulled up a little bit higher than the moving averages, but still looking pretty nice. There was a nice little breakout on the lower time frames, but it looks pretty good to be hitting short. So I might keep an eye on that for on the lower time frames, 15 minute, 30 minute for short entries, and really liking the look here of Swiss yen to continue down as well. So all looking pretty good as well. Moving averages in a nice bearish formation, nice bearish price action, and potential intraday shorting opportunities, as well as a swing trading entry to the downside there. And that's it for me on currencies today. With the cryptocurrencies, and starting off with Bitcoin, so generally speaking, prices now ranging on the daily. The weekly actually formed a very bearish candle last week, and we've broken just below the low of that. So for me, that looks pretty suitable for entry opportunities to the downside. Overall, yep, the downtrend is now pretty much back in action. Looking at Ripple, also Ethereum, this will explain it a little bit better. Looking at the weekly chart here, pull back into resistance, bearish candle, broken below the low. So looking for shorting opportunities at the moment, but just noting this very bullish divergence. Overall, I would not be surprised to see price turn around either at the same level support and reverse and change direction, or even where it is before it gets to that level to reverse and do that. So I am just very cautious of the idea of shorting it, but technically in isolation this looks quite bearish. So I think for the moment, in terms of trading opportunities, I may step aside, but technically my expectation is for this to at least consider going lower, but certainly it is now looking very divergent and is very keen on changing direction. I could see it continuing to build up here, so wouldn't be surprised at some point to see a strong rejection of the lows and then a push higher. With the commodities on the move, starting off with gold, although in my opinion it is overdue for a pullback into a level of resistance to test it for support and back into these moving averages on the weekly time frame, it is currently sitting up with a bullish breakout pattern. So I'm not looking to trade it today, but it is looking quite bullish. It looks like it's very keen on breaking out and moving on upwards. Comparing that to, say, silver is a little bit more rational, at least at the moment, in its behavior, and has created a bit of resistance here on the weekly time frame. I'd like to see a break of the low of last week's candle, and that would indicate a normal, natural, healthy retracement back into the moving averages, ideally as far down as 1480, but not necessarily down. It could go down to 1500 and test that for support. That would be ideal, and a potential long entry there. Now palladium as well, also starting its retracement pretty much according to plan. It's overdue for one. It's coming back into the moving averages. I'll be looking for pullbacks into the moving averages and bullish entry opportunities there. Then having a look at the United States Brent oil fund, pulling back into the moving averages, looking for potential bearish candles here now that it's in the sell zone on the weekly time frame. It's very similar. Having a look at the crude oil, CFDs. This one quite nice as well. It's a daily time frame, and there's a bearish candle sitting up here. I'll be looking this week to see if it maintains its bearish outlook, produces a bearish weekly candle this week, and then next week a break of the low that I'll be looking to resume that behavior, but also noting some of this divergence here. On the whole, though, I'm looking to see this week hit a little bit lower. If it does finish bearishly, next week I'll be looking to enter short on that, and then just adding two new ones to my watch list for today. Copper also looking really nice and bearish on the daily time frame. This is very similar to the yen charts, forming a bearish breakout pattern, looking good to go short, looking nice and weak. I like the look of this as a potential shorting opportunity. And in terms of intraday trading opportunities on the 15-minute, 30-minute, and 1 hour time frames, liking the look of orange juice here. It's just broken through a level of support. It's pulled back. It's produced a nice little bearish candle, hit it on down. I'm looking for the same type of behavior. Pullbacks into the moving averages. Nice little bearish candle to form at a break of the low that for an entry to the downside. So that's looking nice and weak today. 15 minutes and 30-minute trading opportunities for myself. Okay, so the global indices have all reached the fork in the road again. So I've got Wall Street here looking for a pullback, looking for bullish candles this week on the daily time frame to see if it sets up bullishly as a swing entry to go to the long side. And this is where the fork in the road is really between the weekly and the monthly time frames. So looking at them now, the weekly ones have retraced. Looking at S&P 500, retraced back up into support, previous support, now potentially testing that for resistance. So a bearish candle this week and a break of the low, that would be a much now more longer term bearish outlook, and that would change the monthly candles. So the monthly candles are currently setting up as bullish, and that would actually remove that bullishness, and of course it would continue to be bearish. So to put that in place, or to explain that better, is the US Tech 100 monthly candle here, saying that they would ultimately become bearish again if this week resumes its downtrend or sets up to go down. So really it's if it finds resistance, and you can see this here, looking at the UK 100 is back up into support, now potentially in the sell zone. Moving averages are all in that correct bearish order. A bearish candle here against resistance this week at a break of the low, that would be a resuming that trend. And so alternatively, if it continues to push higher, then it'll support the idea of that medium to longer term becoming bullish again. So same thing again, Germany 30, you can see pull back into the moving averages on the weekly time frame. I'm looking for a bearish candle if it's going to resume the downtrend. If it wipes out that bearish candle, then I'm starting to shift back into a more bullish outlook. Again here it's resistance, Hong Kong, bearish candle forming. So just highlighting that in pretty much every single market, every single one of these charts that I'm looking at, it's back into a place geographically that it can produce a bearish weekly candle, which will set up for a more continued downtrend next week. Similar to the global indices, I'm going to be looking this week to see what happens with the weekly candles on the equities in focus. Facebook here looking nice and strong on that monthly time frame, sitting up very strong. Apple overall just highlighting here how particularly it's weak. It's super weak at this point. There hasn't been a swing low, and it just hasn't budged at all compared to some of the other charts. Amazon is incredibly bullish on the monthly time frame, so what I've done is switched it to a weekly, because this is going to be a key tell for me. If we get a strong bearish rejection candle on Amazon, which has been historically really bullish, that'll be an indication of weakness to come. But otherwise, if we finish up strong, that's obviously an indication to me of strength, considering it's the most bullish of the bunch. And then just comparing that to, say, Boston Scientific, which has also been quite bullish. This candle is shifting, this monthly candle is shifting towards an indecision candle, and I'm just going to keep an eye on that as it unfolds. We're now heading towards the middle of the month. Interesting to see how that unfolds. Barclays has done that weekly retracement. It's a good example of what I'm looking for, back into a level of previous support. It's now in the sell zone. Moving averages are very bearish in terms of the 10 and 20. It's just a very steady downtrend, and I'm looking for a bearish candle here, rejection of those levels of resistance, and a break below that to resume that downtrend. That's what I'll be keeping an eye on, and and then comparing that to, say, a couple of the others. You can see here Lloyd's just finding some good support currently on that monthly candle, looking nice and bullish. Could produce a swing low next month if it manages to maintain that bullishness, and BP as well, back into that level of resistance, now testing it for support. So I'll need that monthly candle to finish nice and strong and healthy, and then have February break to the upside. So there we go, ladies and gents. If it's trending, I'll be there. I want to wish you a great day, and I will chat to you tomorrow. Just a reminder to hit the subscribe button. If you want to stay abreast of what's happening in the market, I'll be producing and bringing you the latest in the markets every morning in a freshly produced video.